In a world awash with noise and distraction, where fleeting desires and shifting loyalties often guide human behavior, there appears occasionally a figure who stands apart, not for the loudness of her voice or the brightness of her attire, but for the enduring steadiness of her character. She is the rarest kind of woman, not because she courts attention, but because in every thought, word, and deed, she embodies a constellation of virtues that the ancients sought and the wise still revere. Her rarity is not a consequence of her circumstances, but of her choices, of a discipline quietly forged in the crucible of daily life. The first virtue she holds close is wisdom. Unlike knowledge, which is the mere accumulation of facts, wisdom is the discernment between what is important and what is trivial, what is lasting and what is ephemeral. She does not allow the opinions of the crowd or the urgent claims of the moment to sway her judgment. In conversation, her words are measured, not because she is timid, but because she understands the power of speech and the dignity of silence. When others rush to respond, she pauses, considering not just what is true, but what is kind and necessary. She reads not for the sake of appearing learned, but to see the world more clearly, to understand herself more deeply, and to act more rightly. Her wisdom is a quiet lantern, illuminating her path and gently guiding those who walk beside her. Next comes courage, the steady resolve to hold fast to what is right, even in the face of adversity. It is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. This woman does not shrink from discomfort, nor does she flee from challenge or pain. When she encounters injustice, she speaks, not always loudly, but always clearly. She understands that courage is not only required for grand gestures, but for the small, daily acts of integrity that define a life. She stands firm in her convictions, even when others doubt, and she endures hardship without complaint, knowing that every trial is an opportunity to strengthen the soul. Her courage inspires trust, for others know that she will not abandon her principles, not even when it costs her. Third among her virtues is temperance. In a world of excess, she practices restraint. She does not deny herself joy, but she is not a slave to pleasure. She eats and drinks with moderation, enjoys beauty without coveting it, and loves without clinging. Her desires are in harmony with her reason. She refuses to be ruled by impulse or fleeting emotion. When others are swept away by indulgence, she recalls the words of the Stoics, that true happiness is found not in the abundance of things, but in the clarity of the mind and the serenity of the heart. Through self-control, she preserves her freedom, never allowing herself to be mastered by her appetites. The fourth virtue is justice, a deep and abiding sense of fairness. She gives to each what is due, treating every person with respect, regardless of their station. She does not gossip or slander, for she knows the harm that careless words can inflict. In her dealings, she is honest, refusing to take advantage or to deceive. She is quick to forgive, understanding that everyone stumbles, and she seeks reconciliation rather than vengeance. Justice, for her, is not merely a public show, but a private practice, the quiet, daily commitment to do right, even when no one is watching. In her presence, others feel seen and valued, for she recognizes the dignity in every soul. The fifth virtue she exhibits is humility. She knows her strengths, but she is not boastful. She acknowledges her faults, but she is not self-pitying. She listens more than she speaks, eager to learn from all, not just from those considered wise or powerful. She does not seek praise, nor is she dismayed by criticism. She understands that her worth does not depend on the approval of others, but on her adherence to her own principles. In success, she remains grounded. In failure, she is reflective. Her humility makes her approachable, for she does not set herself above others, but walks beside them, sharing in their struggles and joys. Sixth is gratitude, a virtue often overlooked, yet fundamental to her peace of mind. She does not take her blessings for granted, nor does she compare her lot to that of others with envy. Each day, she pauses to appreciate the simple gifts, the warmth of the sun, the kindness of a friend, the chance to begin again. She sees setbacks not as punishments, but as lessons, obstacles not as curses, but as opportunities to grow in patience and fortitude. Her gratitude is not a naive optimism, but a deliberate choice to focus on what is good, to accept what cannot be changed, and to cherish what is fleeting. This perspective renders her resilient, for she is not easily shaken by disappointment. The seventh virtue she embodies is patience. In a culture obsessed with speed and immediate gratification, she endures delay without frustration. She understands that all worthwhile things, wisdom, love, character, require time to mature. She is willing to wait, to persist in effort, to trust the process even when the outcome is uncertain. When others are anxious or restless, she remains calm, knowing that each moment is a part of a larger unfolding. Her patience is not passivity, it is active endurance, the steadfast commitment to do her best and to let go of what is beyond her control. This patience allows her to nurture relationships, to weather storms, and to see beauty in the gradual unfolding of life. The eighth and final virtue is authenticity. She lives in accordance with her true self, not conforming to the expectations of others or wearing masks to win approval. Her words and actions align. She is the same in private as she is in public. When she errs, she admits it. When she succeeds, she shares the credit. She does not pretend to know what she does not, nor does she hide her vulnerabilities. Her authenticity is liberating, both for herself and for those around her, for it invites others to drop their own pretenses and to connect more deeply. In a world of illusion, she is real. All these virtues are rare, not because they are beyond reach, but because they require daily attention, a kind of gardening of the soul. The rarest woman in the world is not born, but made, through the slow accumulation of right choices and the steadfast refusal to be led astray by passing trends or shallow rewards. She moves through the world with a quiet confidence, her presence both calming and uplifting. She does not impose herself, yet her influence is profound. Others feel at ease in her company, sensing that here is someone who will not judge harshly, who will listen without distraction, who will offer counsel without condescension. She does not seek to dominate, but to serve, not to amass, but to share. Her relationships are deep, for she invests in them with care and intention. She is loyal, not out of obligation, but from a deep understanding of the value of trust. In her work, she is diligent, pursuing excellence for its own sake, not merely to gain recognition or reward. She finds meaning in whatever task she undertakes, knowing that it is not the nature of the work that ennobles, but the spirit in which it is done. She is not discouraged by setbacks, nor is she intoxicated by success. She approaches each day as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to serve. When life brings sorrow, she grieves openly, but does not become bitter. She allows herself to feel, but does not allow her emotions to rule her. She seeks solace in nature, in books, in the steady rhythm of her own breath. She knows that suffering is a part of the human condition, but so is joy, and she makes room for both in her heart. Her relationships are marked by honesty and compassion. She does not flatter or deceive, nor does she manipulate or control. She is generous with her time, her attention, her affection. She celebrates the successes of others without envy and offers support in times of need without expectation of repayment. Her friendships are few, perhaps, but they are deep and enduring. She is not immune to the pressures of the world, the demands to look a certain way, to achieve certain milestones, to measure her worth by external standards. But she resists these pressures, anchoring herself in her values. She knows that beauty fades, fortunes change, and reputations rise and fall. What endures is character. In times of conflict, she seeks resolution, not victory. She is willing to compromise on matters of preference, but not on matters of principle. She listens with an open mind, willing to be persuaded but not easily swayed by rhetoric or emotion. She stands her ground when necessary, but does not delight in argument. Her goal is not to win, but to understand, to find common ground, to heal. She is a student of life, always curious, always learning. She does not cling to dogma, but is open to new ideas, willing to revise her beliefs in light of new evidence. She is humble enough to admit when she is wrong, courageous enough to change, and wise enough to know that certainty is often an illusion. Her presence is a quiet rebuke to the cynicism and selfishness that so often pervade modern life. She reminds others, by example, not by lecture, that it is possible to live with dignity, to act with integrity, to love with fullness. She does not seek to change the world by force, but by being a living example of what is possible. And so, in a world teeming with distractions and temptations, she remains rare, not because she is perfect, but because she is steadfast. She stumbles, but she rises. She doubts, but she perseveres. She is not immune to sorrow, but she does not despair. Through it all, she remains true to herself and to the virtues she has chosen to cultivate. Those who encounter her may not always understand the source of her tranquility, but they sense its presence. She is like a tree rooted deep in the earth, unshaken by the storms that rage above. She is a reminder that greatness is not measured by the scale of one's achievements, but by the depth of one's character. The rarest woman in the world is not waiting to be discovered. She is quietly shaping herself day by day through acts of wisdom, courage, temperance, justice, humility, gratitude, patience, and authenticity. Her rarity is not a mark of exclusion, but an invitation to all who would live more deeply, love more fully, and endure more bravely. The path is open. The choice is ours.